Everybody just stay calm. You have your English exam tomorrow, but everything's going to be okay. You've been preparing for this exam for months, right? Right? Well, whether you are the perfect student who really has been preparing for this exam for months, or maybe you're a procrastinator who leaves everything to the last moment, in this video I'm going to tell you 5 things that you can do the day before an exam that will help you get the best score possible in the exam. Okay, let's do this. Hello to the pointers, and thank you for joining me again for another video. This is To The Point English with Ben, where I give tips and advice on how to pass the Cambridge English exams. So the B2 first, the C1 Advanced and the C2 Proficiency, also known as the FCE, CAE and CPE. But a lot of the tips I'm going to give today are valid for pretty much any English exam. The first thing I should say is that you cannot improve your English level in 24 hours. So that's not the idea of this video. I'm not going to help you improve your level. No, today I'm just going to give you tips on things you can do the day before the exam to give yourself the best chance possible of passing and getting a good score in the exam. So the first tip today is make sure you know what is expected of you in the exam. So by this I mean get to know the exam. I mean, I've said this in other videos about preparation, about how to prepare, but this is still valid the day before the exam. If you're that perfect student I spoke about before, you should know the format of the exam, the structure of the exam, but it's still a good idea to go over it again, just so you feel confident when you sit down in front of the papers, that you know what is expected of you, you know what is on the next page. And if you haven't prepared for the exam, then it's essential. It's really very important that you know what is expected of you. So that's my first tip. My second tip is just to do some quick revision of some grammar and vocabulary. As I said, you're not going to improve your level, so you're not going to learn anything new. But there are certain grammar areas that will definitely appear in the exam, either in the use of English, or you may need to use them in the writing or your speaking. So you just need to refresh some of the grammar and vocabulary in your mind. So some grammar you need to study is definitely the conditionals, the passive form, inversions, reported speech, all that kind of grammar, all the verb tenses. So I'm not saying study it in depth, just go over it in a quick revision, just so, more than anything, to make you feel more prepared and more confident when you sit down in front of the exam. Regarding vocabulary, that's a little bit more complicated, because I don't think it's a good idea to start learning a lot of new vocabulary the day before the exam, because that will just add extra stress and take more brain energy when you should be focusing on how to do the exam. But again, revise some of the important vocabulary that you know you're going to need to use. So things like cohesive devices, which are linking words. The typical ones are however, furthermore, therefore, instead of, in spite of, even though, although. Those types of words will be very useful in the writing, also in your speaking, and they often come up in the use of English. So it's a good idea, again, just to revise those. And also the adjectives. I always think it's a good idea to go into the exam with a set of adjectives that you know you can use in your writing and speaking, in particular. So try to use some more advanced adjectives. So even if you're studying for the B2 first, why not use advanced adjectives? For example, an adjective that you could probably use in almost any essay is important. And that's a good adjective, it's fine, but why not learn slightly more advanced alternatives like salient or pertinent or significant? So these are the types of really advanced adjectives you can learn before you go into the exam, that you can use in almost any essay or even in your speaking. But as I said, this is more about revision than learning anything new. Now is not the time to learn new vocabulary or new grammar. If you haven't learned it now, 24 hours before the exam is not the time. And tip 3 is to visualize. So when I say visualize, I mean try to imagine yourself sitting in front of the examiner in the speaking, for example, sitting next to your partner, or in the other part of the exam, sitting in front of the exam paper, and try to visualize yourself opening that paper or getting the first question from the examiner in the speaking, thinking about how you'll answer the question. Think about your strategy for each part of the exam. Hopefully you will have a strategy. Think about the timing for the reading and use of English, and for the writing. The timing strategy is very important. Think about how you're going to answer each question, what type of vocabulary you may need, how to structure the writings. This type of thing the day before the exam will help to calm your nerves and make you feel more confident tomorrow when you sit down for the exam. Okay, so visualize how the exam may be. Go through every part and every step, and then you'll feel more confident. Okay, tip number 4 now. So this is a more logistical and practical tip, but make sure you double check that you know where and when the exam is. Well, this may seem obvious, but you don't want the stress tomorrow morning of worrying about how you're going to get to the exam center or the school or wherever you're taking the exam, and how much time you need to get there. You want to be sure that you know that very well. So maybe it's in your school, so that shouldn't be a problem. But if it's in an exam center that you've never been to before, make sure you look on the map how to get there, the best way to get there, and how long it's going to take you. Check the time. You know the exact time when the exam starts. You don't need this extra pressure or worry or stress on the morning of the exam. You want to be able to just focus on the exam tomorrow. And my last tip 5, is probably, I think, the most important tip. And it's simply to get a good night's sleep. At least 8 hours, I would say. Don't think about studying through the night. That is a bad idea, really. I know you think you can learn extra techniques or vocabulary or grammar for the exam, but it's too late for that. You'll get a lot more benefit from 2 hours extra sleep than 2 hours studying, really. So stop studying, stop thinking about the exam quite early in the evening or even in the afternoon. Watch a film or series in your own language, in English, I don't know, or just try to disconnect from the exam in the evening. Maybe read a book in any language again, but just start slowing down to make sure that you're ready for bed and you're ready to sleep at a good time, so you have plenty of sleep, so that you wake up tomorrow morning feeling fresh and your mind is ready to be focused on the exam. As I said, for me, that's the most important tip. Sleep. Get 8 hours sleep at least. And then what do you do when you finish your exam? Well, whatever you want. You can celebrate with a beer if you like. But remember that your English learning journey doesn't end there. You need to continue learning English in some way. Maybe not studying for an exam, that's up to you. Maybe you decide you want to take the advanced or the proficiency, whatever. But make sure you continue a relationship with English. That's why I recommend you have a look at my other channel. It's English Matters with Ben Gill, because there I make general English learning videos, which I think you'll find useful and interesting. Okay guys, thank you for joining me again, and I'll see you soon for another video, maybe on the other channel if you've finished with the Cambridge English exams now. Okay guys, take care, bye.